Greetings, Andover. I am coming to you from the Cubby in my home office. As you know, our weekly video messages are intended to share the love for Andover and connect the Andover community in inspiring ways. I usually open this segment with highlights for non-sibi efforts. This week, I want to highlight my friend and colleague, Linda Carter-Griffith, LCG, our Associate Head for Equity, Inclusion, and Wellness, who has been doing daily non-sibi walks since the beginning of the pandemic. For LCG, these walks represent moments of reflection and gratitude. Companions along the paths have included numerous faculty members: David Fox, Aya Murata, Bridget Samo, Tyron Bynum, Alan Grimm, Sheena Hilton, Mahalia Belize, Susan Esty, and Diane Dominich Burgos. LCG welcomes all volunteers to come out and join her on her non-sibi walk. Next, I invite you to absorb energy and optimism with Aggie Kipp's Yoga Moments. Part of the Big Blue Be Well series on Instagram, Aggie's advice to manage stress also includes tips for healthy eating. We'll share one of her famous smoothie recipes in a moment. Aggie has been in Andover for over 40 years, and as you know, Aggie started here when she was just 10 years old, and Aggie continues to be a fountain of wellness wisdom for us all in the Andover community. My final highlight goes out to Soman, class of 22, who is partnering with his brother to support Lazarus House here in Lawrence. Soman, I saw a great photo of you and your brother packing a car with food after finishing your porch pickups throughout Andover and North Andover. Soman was inspired by his Phillips Academy community engagement work with Lazarus House and has found it gratifying to be able to continue this important connection and meet such an urgent need in our local community. Thank you, Soman. With that theme of making important connections, I am pleased to introduce this week's guests from the Cubby: Mike Barker, who oversees the Oliver Wendell Holmes Library; Lisa Yole, our Director of Athletics and Girls Varsity Soccer Coach; and Chris Capano, our Director of Student Activities. All three are known for their connections to student life, learning, and offering inspiration throughout campus. Students, please know your love for Mike, Lisa, and Chris will be welcomed by sending them a little note about your impressions of their famous appearance in From the Cubby. I will be back in a moment after I fire up my blender and make a smoothie with Aggie Kipp. Go Aggie. Back in a minute.
My name is Aggie Kipp. I'm delighted, honored to show you this wonderful version of a powerful performance-enhancing smoothie that we have called the Sam Phil Limited Ltd. First, I'm going to add strawberries, and then I'm going to add some blueberries. These berries are very immune boosting. They're very rich in antioxidants that will really help you stay healthy all day. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of pear, which is not as nutrient dense, but it adds some awesome sweetness. Then I'll put in some plain Greek yogurt. It's really packed with protein. We'll sprinkle in a little bit of flax, very high in omega-3, really healthy fat, particularly for your brain, for cognitive function. And then our head of school's favorite fruit, avocado, again loaded with monounsaturated fat, very healthy for your brain. I'm going to put this now, I'm going to blend this. So this is the Sam Phil Ltd smoothie. For a minute Andover, I'm Aggie Kipp. Holy moly!
Welcome, Mike, Lisa, and Chris, three of Andover's very best student connectors. I'm so grateful that all of you could join me in From the Cubby today. I want to start first off with you, Mike, with some questions about your role as the director of the Oliver Wendell Holmes Library and some of the things you have done in supporting students to adapt to this new environment. Go ahead, Mike.
Sure, Jim. Thanks first. I just want to say thanks first for inviting me to talk about the library and the Cubby. It's an honor.
Great.
And you know you've made it when you're in the Cubby. So first, we put a lot of effort into the library, into making it a really cool physical space. yeah, last year that it's a little bit bittersweet, of course, to have to end the year not in that library. But before we left, that building was packed with, 3, 4, sometimes 500 kids. Half the school seemed like they were in that building at certain times of the day. So at least from a connection standpoint, I always really loved and really got a lot out of seeing how much kids got together in that
Mike,
space.
what is your favorite space in the library? You can tell us. Just tell us. You tell us, what's your favorite place?
So sometime I got to show you all the attic. The attic is so neat.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Hugo, but
Oh, yeah.
it's like going behind the clock face.
That's
It's
cool.
truly amazing. But lots of kids or lots of students had a chance to do work as well as see each other in that space, and that's why it's a special place for me to work every day.
So, yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
the way we've tried to support them in this situation without that space, a lot of our services we provide digitally, right? So we digitized almost all the books last year. Turned out to be a really good year to do that. And we're able to provide digital copies of those books, not only to our own students, but to all the students across the globe, which is just wild if you think about it. And a really kind of Andover non-sibi kind of thing. But also remember the help desk when you walk in the library? So we tried to replicate that too digitally with a digital chat feature. And we'll hang out on our computer. We take turns, but basically a student can chat us a question just like they were texting a friend all day long, and we basically the regular hours of the library.
Well, I'll never forget when we dedicated the new library earlier this fall, and when you presented the actual digitized collection and the discs, and we opened that special box, and I saw Oscar Tang sitting right there in the front row, and we showed it to him, and his eyes lit up. It was amazing. It was a very special moment. So that's a tremendous effort, and how fortuitous that you got that project together at a time when it was so much needed, not only on our campus, but on for so many other students around the world. So I'll turn to Chris now. Chris, student activities, typically buzzing with students and things happening on campus. And I know this must have been a challenging time for you to shift that energy to these virtual environments. How's that going?
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite things about campus is there's always dozens of events, it seems like, going on almost every single day. And with the student body scattered around the world, we've had to change things a little bit. We've had some luck in that we still have the Weekender getting made every week, so we can spread the word for students, faculty, departments, clubs that are still doing things. We have all kinds of clubs are doing all kinds of work to spread the word about what they're doing. We've had guest speakers come in, which is great. Aaron Strong has offered dance and yoga classes to anyone that wants to jump in. We've got some cooking classes coming up in the next week or two, which would be kind of fun for our faculty members. But even like we did our Blue Head tryouts via Zoom and had hundreds of kids watching every single day. And super positive, like great comments. Like we all are using Zoom a ton now, so you had to turn the sound off on the watchers, but they were filling the chat with cheers and positive sounds and stuff like that, positive notes and things like that, and we appreciate it. From the student activities end, we've done, because we can't see everybody, we've done these Andover brackets, kind of like March Madness, to see what everyone's favorite things are on campus. We've gotten 700, 800 votes in every single round on.
It's amazing. Yeah.
It's been so much fun. Chef Nestor's stir fry is going to win the best Presky meal probably. I don't want to sway the votes, but
okay,
anyone can match him.
You're going out early with that. That's great. I love it.
He's winning so big, it's going to be hard to beat. And then like this weekend, we're going to run a trivia night on Saturday, and we're looking to run like a Zoom version of a coffee house next weekend.
Oh, thank you. I know this tremendous creativity on your behalf, and thanks again to Steph too for in your office getting the weekender out, which I've loved. I always screenshot that weekender and save it, and that's where I rely on getting my information for the weekend's activities. So
yeah, there's so much information there. Like it's like you got to keep a copy of it, or you'll forget what's going on.
that's exactly right. Yeah, exactly. So thank you, Lisa. Let's talk a little bit about what we've been watching, some of these examples of athletic team bonds that are created during this time. Talk a little about those examples that we've been watching on Instagram.
So as Mike said, thank you for having me. I'm in fine company, so I look forward to this. Of course, all of us coaches miss our athletes so much, and as I walk around campus and walk past these empty fields, I'm envisioning all the games that should be happening, including a number this weekend where we were supposed to be going up north to Exeter with tennis team and boys volleyball. So in place of that, what we're trying to do is make sure our teams do what they do best, which is stay connected. They're better together. And all of our teams are families, and we need our family more than ever right now. So each week we have spring coaches meetings, and the spring coaches come together to actually share ideas, what they're doing with their particular teams, so that other coaches can hear and maybe see if that works for their program. The baseball team with Coach Capano, Coach Graber, Coach Fritz, that's right. As well as the girls lacrosse team with Coach Wall, Coach A, and Coach Ware. They've actually been having not only Zoom meetings together, connecting the players to each other, but recently have invited alums to be part of the conversation. Former student athletes who are playing collegiately on the baseball side, some professional folks in baseball, and that's a great opportunity, as always, for Andover connections. And I think, again, they're more important than ever. This is a part of our story, and our teams love hearing from one another, former players as well. So that's happening. Our crew team is, they are so hardcore. They have been competing against each other online, virtual burpee and push-up and sit-up contests. And they sometimes have on weekends up to 80 participants. And they're in teams and they're in boats and they're combining their scores. And their coxswains are, screaming more than ever for folks to compete hard and win. The rumor is that Coach Hurley and Coach Misner are challenging Exeter to a virtual rowing competition as well, so that'll be super fun. And I guess one other thing I'd say, in partnership with New England prep schools, there have been efforts to create a virtual track meet amongst runners around New England, and we have had a number of our students who are finding ways to get out and run not a virtual 400, they're running a 400, whether it's on their street or in their backyard, or somewhere, and posting times, and that's just a lot of fun. So I think we're doing our very, very best to stay connected and to stay active.
As always, Lisa, I know you're very modest. You're one of the most successful coaches in varsity sports at Andover of all time. And I know your varsity girls soccer team has that motto, whatever it takes. Mm-hmm. And I know you well through our lengthy period of professional development through Team Schumann, as someone committed to that motto. What's going on with your team, and how does that motto apply today through these circumstances?
Sure. So GVS has really been grounded in whatever it takes, and I think that applies right now to our full community. That and really at that very core is we do what we need to do given the circumstance, to find joy, to find success. And GVS is we have our weekly Zoom meetings, and you know, I think what really matters and what you see with teams have very special bonds, not just on the field, but never more before than I see we have special bonds off the field. And those are carrying, I think, all of us through. So for whatever it takes means we can't compete for Andover, what we can do is we can take care of each other as teammates and coaches. And that's what's going on, I think, not just in soccer, but across all of our sports programs.
Thank you. It's great. Mike, I want to turn to you now. The makerspace, the nest, we miss it. I know you've loaned out the 3D printers for a good cause. Tell us about that valiant effort in our local communities.
Yeah, sure, Jim. Early on, especially, there was a number of people with 3D printers that put a network together and connected with medical facilities to 3D print the frames for the PPEs. And then you'd attach a frame or a plastic frame to that. And a student, Haley Waddell, actually wrote us and said, is there any way I can help? And so we put a couple 3D printers on a sidewalk for her dad to pick up. And so
that's great social distancing right there. Excellent.
Right. So one, I should say we put one there. One lives with Haley right now. Two were brought home by makerspace coordinator Evan Seramos. And then Ben Peters is also 3D printing some from there. So contributing in as many ways as we can there. And you know, the maker ethos lives, you know, in the same sense of you know, do what it takes. You know, we built a new makerspace in Minecraft, which
I love Minecraft.
Kind of fun.
I'm a big fan of Minecraft.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a pretty interesting idea, but then someone gave me a tour, and they didn't stop at the makerspace. They built the library out, and now they're with the help of OPP, we have schematics and plans for the entire campus. So the hope
fantastic. I love it.
That you know, one way or another, we get the campus built up that way. You know,
it's great.
So.
It's really great. Thank you for that. It's so helpful. Chris, let's turn to you again. And I know that you've been managing connections with peers in the class of 2020, and they're organizing their potpourri, their yearbook. What would you like to share about the status of the potpourri and your impressions of the students with whom you have connected?
The students have been amazingly positive in the face of this. I'm always impressed by their good spirits. So our potpourri is our school yearbook. 350 full color pages, completely student designed and coordinated, which is really impressive. The fall and winter, all those events that we had and we love and we know, A&E and pep rallies and orientation, that was all done and in the book, ready to go. But our yearbook editors have come up with some great ways to grab stuff from students back home. So what their digital classroom space looks like at home, and what they're doing to keep busy, and what they're doing with some of these team events and things like that. So that we'll have a spring section of the yearbook that will encapsulate this kind of one-of-a-kind time and all that's going on with it, which is really cool.
It's terrific. We love the potpourri, and we love the independence of it. And it's so compelling that it's completely organized and designed by the students. I've always really regarded that as important to us. I know during this time especially, every year, it feels like things are a little different, and we're in the midst of this disruption, but we look to our students, as you know, to rise up and lead us in refreshing directions. Despite the disruption, Lisa, what has inspired you most about our students' ability to adapt in these unprecedented times?
I think what's really notable to me is I experience more than ever, like the strong connection our students have to Andover. I mean, they miss Andover terribly, but the connection they feel to the school, and most importantly, each other, will carry them through. They will have this school for a lifetime, and these memories and these experiences. And I'm just struck by their positivity. They recognize this is hard. No one wants to be doing what we are all doing, but I think the value they realize more than ever about how much they care for each other, care for this Andover experience. Andover's not going away. So, you know, I'm really struck by their sense of that there will be another time when we will all be together again, and that's going to be amazing. And they keep me positive. I get off the phone calls with them, the Zoom calls, and they're all smiling, you know, and then we're laughing, and I think that keeps me going.
It's great. Well, you make us laugh too all the time with all your connections and ability to make us feel welcome and appreciated. And Chris, what would you say about our students' ability to adapt during this time?
I would echo everything Lisa said. I've been impressed by like our my dorm meetings. The sense of humor is still amazing, and they're all telling jokes. Every kid is worried about us just as much as we're worried about them. I haven't had a conversation start without someone asking how I'm doing. Am I okay? Is my family okay? Which is so sweet. They're all giving me recommendations on what to watch or what books I have to read or what TV shows are cool that I haven't seen yet, which has been fun to catch up on. So just that entire, like, just the sense of community we have has extended beyond the campus, which I think is really great.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris, also for your commitment and all that you do. And Mike, what would you say during this time we have learned from our students? How would you characterize that?
How to be courageous, I think. You know, I really shout out to the class of 2020.
Yes.
You know, as a senior in high school, not to be able to go to my prom in the same traditional way or everything like that would be you know, disheartening and disappointing, of course. But you know, for a class to be courageous and think forward and think that, you know, there are going to be so many more things in their life that are way bigger than this. Yeah. And these kinds of challenges right now seem big. But to have the courage and conviction to kind of keep the eyes way out there on the horizon and say, I'm going to go get the next big thing. I see kids doing that. And that's kind of a great reminder for me, too, you know, so it's their courage that inspires me as well as their sense of humor. I'd agree with Chris. It's intact.
I know all you have to do is tune into one of our many Instagram channels and watch a little bit of what they are doing in their courage and creativity and just their natural instincts to connect. It's really terrific. But I just want to thank all three of you for the conversation and for joining me today in the Cubby. And I hope these messages will help to connect the campus and the extended Andover community in positive ways. Remember, find your way to fall in love with Andover. And while you may feel isolated, you're never alone. Thank you for tuning in. This is Jim Ventre from the class of 79, interim head of school 15.5, signing off from the Cubby. Let's go, Big Blue.
Hello there, class of 2020 at Phillips Academy. This is From the Tubby. Wait, what? This is weird. I shouldn't do it from in here? I thought this was kind of funny. All right, fine. Wait a minute. This is not weird, right? This is better?
No, it's nice.
Thanks, Em. PA class of 2020, thank you for the chance to say a few words to you. This is John Paul for your 15th head of school, and I just mostly want to say how much I miss you and how much I'm thinking of you during this senior spring. I miss walking into all-school meeting in Cochran Chapel with you and seeing you on the paths. That's a great, great memory for me, and one that I hope that we'll all hold for a long time. I suspect you've been hearing a lot about what a hardship this is, and certainly for all of you who are missing senior spring seasons and so forth, that's true, and I'm sure you miss the lawn and the playing fields and the performance halls and all that, and so do I. I suspect you need a haircut like I do, and you're maybe a little bit stir crazy and all that, but mostly I actually wanted to focus on something that I think is more positive, which is your class forever will be defined by this 2020 pandemic that you are graduating into. And while of course there's a lot of hardship that stands for, I also think this is an incredible opportunity in the sense that you are the one class from Andover that will be defined by going out in this kind of a way. And I think there's an enormous opportunity for you to do that in a true non-sibi spirit. So even as this is a real hardship and this is an unpleasant time and probably pretty boring and so forth, I also think there's so many great opportunities for you this spring, and I really look forward to seeing how you make it a special way to go out of Andover. And one thing, I really hope that I'll have a chance to be part of the celebration of your great Andover accomplishments when that time comes. And I look forward to learning all the great things that you do. So most important, I miss you. Thank you so much for this chance to connect. Go Big Blue and your fabulous class of 2020 at Phillips Academy. Thank you so much.